Hello everyone, my name is Hemu. In today's we are starting our AWS Certified Advanced Networking Specialist training, and the exam code for this training is ANS C01. Okay, and I will go through with all the details with this particular exam, how you can appear and all, right? So now let me just go through with the things. So in today's class, what I'm going to discuss, so if you will see, I have mentioned day one here, and these are the topics which I'm going to cover in your day one class. So first we will understand what is cloud computing, types of clouds, cloud computing services, what is software as a service, what is platform as a service, what is infrastructure as a service. These are the cloud service model. Most important thing, guys. So we will discuss these models. I will go through with the cloud computing architecture and its important components, characteristic of the cloud computing, or the what are the main benefit or what are the main features available in your cloud environment, why people is basically moving their infrastructure over the cloud. Okay. Advantage of cloud computing or benefits of the cloud computing, what are the disadvantages available in the cloud computing, application hosted in the cloud computing or example of the cloud computing applications, and I will also go through with some virtualization, like what is hypervisor, what is virtualization technology and all. Okay, so these are the topic which I'm going to cover in your today's class. So now let me, before starting this term called what is cloud, let me just go through with one of the analogy. Okay, let's suppose guys, there are two-person, maybe let's suppose like there are two students, they are doing their bachelor degree with one of the institute. Okay, one of the engineering institute, so they are from the engineering background. Now these two students, what they have decided, they have decided to start a company. Let's suppose they are planning to start a company called ABC, and now this company ABC, what they are, this company is doing, this company has one application. So these two students, so I can say these two engineers, what they have done, they have basically they have started one company called ABC, and they have developed one application. And let's suppose this application is basically used by one of the healthcare organizations, and here they have built this particular application for the healthcare organizations. Okay, now guys, tell me one thing. Let's suppose these two-person wants to start this particular application, right? Now generally where we will run this application, are you able to answer this thing? Generally where we used to run these type of applications or programs, what is the device we will generally use to run these applications? Do you guys know what type of devices we use to run the application, to run the programs, to run the softwares? Generally, what is the name of the device? Servers, right? Or laptop? No. Tell me one thing. We have a server here, or let's suppose we have a laptop, or we have a system. Now generally on this server, laptop, system, what are the components available into this particular server or in this particular system? So the main component which are available into this server, the first component is the operating system, right? Maybe you are using Linux operating system, or maybe you are using Windows based OS, right? The second most important component is the CPU, right? Without CPU, we cannot able to do anything. The third component which is available in your server or system is the RAM. Fourth component is the hard drive or the SSD, right? And the fifth component which are available into this device is your network card. These are the main component available into your laptop. Apart from this component, what we have, we also need some type of environment or some type of application where we can run our software, right? Or maybe we also need, let's say we are using Windows, then we also need a license to run this particular Windows operating system. Let's suppose this application is based on Java. If it's a Java based application, then what I need? I needed a Java software as well, right? So these are the components generally available in your system, right? Now, tell me one thing. Let's suppose we have these two engineers, right? I'm just putting the name of engineer. Let's suppose one engineer. So let's say these are the two engineers. Let's say engineer name is X and the second engineer name is Y, right? Now these engineer X and Y wants to run this particular application. So what they have to do? They need to purchase this particular laptop or system, right? Now, what are the options available if they want to purchase a laptop, right? So what they can do, they can directly purchase this particular server from a shop, right? By paying a amount of around 1 lakh. This is the one option they are having, right? Now, see, they have paid this particular 1 lakh of amount to a shop. Let's suppose this is a shop which is basically owned by the Lenovo, and they have purchased this Lenovo server. Now on this server, they have run this particular application. And let's suppose right now, whatever server they have got, let's suppose this server have around 8 CPUs. It has around 32 GB of RAM and it has around 2 TB of SSD. I am taking these hypothetical numbers, guys. Okay. This is what right now I'm having, or these engineer X and Y they are having, right? So what they have done, they have basically purchased this laptop, and after purchasing this laptop, what they have basically installed the Windows operating system on it, and they have also purchased the license for that, right? And after, when they have make all these arrangements, what they have done, their application is up and running now. Their app is up and it is running. It is ready to use. And right now, as I have mentioned, these two engineers, they have developed this application for healthcare. So let's suppose they got around two customers. They just get two customers here. And now these two customers, they are using their services. Now just tell me one thing. Let's suppose whatever arrangements they have done for these two customers, actually, let's suppose these two customers stop doing the business with these two persons. They have used their services for 6 months or maybe for just only for 1 month, and they have found there are a couple of glitch are available into this application. Maybe that application is not able to handle the request which is coming from the customers of these two customers, right? Now what will happen in that case? In that case, whatever money or whatever amount they've invested here, it is a loss, right, for these two peoples. Now let's think about a big scenario. So this is just a basic analogy. Now if we will think about the big scenario where, let's suppose they have started a company called ABC. On this ABC company, let's suppose currently they have around 1,000 users who is using their services. And for these 1,000 users, what they have done, they have purchased these two servers. They have purchased these two servers, and also they have purchased one switch. They have purchased one router, and they have purchased one firewall. and they have purchased around 2 internet connection from the internet service provider. And they have, let's suppose, invested around 5 lakh amount in this particular infrastructure. Suddenly, what happened? Let's suppose their application or whatever website they are hosting, let's suppose this become viral. And instead of getting the request from these 1,000 users, let's suppose they are now getting the request from 1 lakh users. Now what will happen? Are these servers able to handle this many load? Let's suppose these requests is only coming for 3 days. There is some type of sale is going on. And let's suppose these many requests, they are just expecting just for 3 days. Now guys, what will happen? See, these two servers is able to handle the request coming from 1,000 users, but now they are getting the request from 1 lakh users. Is these two servers or whatever infrastructure that company ABC is having, is this company able to handle these many requests? Guys, what you will think? So is there any type of scalability? No, right? It is not gonna happen. Now, what is the solution? If they want to basically serve the request for 1 lakh users, what they need to do? They have to basically put some extra hardware. They have to put couple of switches, couple of more routers, couple of more firewalls, right? They need to get a more, or they need to get a more ISP connections, right? They need a more bandwidth and all, right? Now, guys, these things is only for 3 days. And let's suppose if they wants to build a infrastructure for 1 lakh users, they need to spend, let's say, 1 crore, or let's say 50 lakh. So guys, to invest this 50 lakh amount in this particular infrastructure is worth? What you will think? And you are getting the business just for 3 days. Now, when you will build this infrastructure, what will happen? It will need lots of money. It needs your, it needs some manpower, right? Because you need a good network engineers, you need a good servers, you need a good network administrator who can basically manage your infrastructure, right? So this type of solution is not feasible, right? See, so guys, see now, let's suppose, this company ABC, what they have done, let's suppose this company ABC, they have found there are one company called XYZ. There is a one company called XYZ. That company is a cloud service provider, CSP. Means what this company is doing, this company has a data centers. This company has a data center, very, very big data centers. Now, what they are saying, what this company is saying to this ABC, see, if you want a workload just only for 3 days, you can rent out from us. You can rent out from us. You don't need to invest a 50 lakh of amount. You can just rent out these many resources from us just for 3 days. And after that, you can stop using our resources. And you can just pay the amount only for 3 days. That is all about the cloud, guys. So guys, cloud service provider are the companies who has a dedicated data centers. They have a dedicated hardware devices which includes your routers, switches, firewalls, load balancers, very, very high computing servers where you can launch your you can launch your servers, you can launch your virtual machines there, and you can run your application. And what you have to do, you have to pay as you go. Means, let's suppose you are just using their resources just only for 3 hours, then pay for 3 hours only. And if you are, see now, for company X ABC, which is just a startup, they don't have even much funds, right? For these kind of companies, if these kind of companies, they want to start the business, they used to approach for the cloud service providers because cloud solution are good. They don't need to invest the money as well, right? And they just needs to pay as you go model, right? Let's suppose you have couple of ideas in your mind, right? And you wants to start your own organization and you don't have enough funds. What you can do? Let's take an example in this way. Let's suppose you have one idea. Let's suppose you have one idea and you want to implement this idea. Okay. And to implement this idea, what you have, you need some type of infrastructure. You need some type of infrastructure, which includes, see, if you want to implement some type of network infrastructure, what? You need a couple of servers, right? Let's suppose you need around 10 servers. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. These are the 10 servers we are having. You need these 10 servers, and to basically handle the traffic from these servers, you need let's suppose, 3 switches, switch 1, switch 2, and switch 3. And you have connected all these particular servers with these switches. Right, to perform the load balancing between these servers, you need a load balancer. So let's suppose you have purchased one F5 load balancer. And if you want to prevent the attack into these servers, what you have to do? This is your load balancer. What you need? A firewall, and you need a very good internet connection. So let's say you have a two internet connection, ISP01 and ISP02. So you have to build this type of infrastructure, right? And if you want to planning to build this infrastructure, you have to invest the money. The first thing, it need to invest lots of cost. Second thing, you need engineers who can basically build this particular setup for you and who can manage the setup. Third thing, you need a land or building where you will basically build this particular infrastructure, right? These are the basic things which you needed if you want to build this particular infrastructure. And guys, let me just highlight one point here. This is just an idea. Maybe, see, when anybody used to start the company, he used to have a lots of ideas, right? He is just implementing this one idea, and to implement this one idea, he has to spend around 50 lakh. What if, rather than building this particular infrastructure, what you can do? And guys, see, if you will build this infrastructure, it needs at least 1 month time, right? It needs time as well. And also, even though you have to put your attention as well whenever this particular development is going on, means it needs your time as well. You have to put your time as well in this particular infrastructure. Let's suppose, what if, what you can do, see, you have idea, okay, and now you want to implement this idea. Let's suppose you want to implement this idea within 2 days, or let's say within 1 day, and you need this type of infrastructure. So what you will do, if you will approach to any type of cloud service providers, what they will do, they will basically give you, and you can able to build this type of infrastructure within 2 days. Within 1 day, you can able to build a similar type of infrastructure over the cloud environment. And you don't need to pay any type of amount upfront. Means you don't need to pay any type of amount for these devices. No, they will manage everything. They will manage everything. You just need to pay the rent as per your use. Let's suppose if your idea is flop, then what happens? You can destroy all your resources and now you don't need to pay anything, right? So guys, see, for a startup type of companies, cloud is a life changing environment, and like lots of startups basically like cloud is very useful for the startup companies, and they can able to build their infrastructure over there easily. Okay, now, so now I hope you will get a some little bit understanding of the cloud, what is all about, right? Now let me just start with the things whatever I have here. So if I'll say what is cloud, so in simple term, cloud is a environment, or cloud is a combination of multiple data centers. What? It is a combination of multiple data centers. And guys, generally in data centers, what we have? In data centers, we have a servers, we have a routers, we have a switches, we have a firewall, right? We have a everything what you needed to run a data center, like servers, routers, firewall, switches, load balancers, right? Power backup, cables, land, so many things are there, right? And your cloud is a combination of multiple data centers. And what you will used to do, they used to offer a service to your users using the internet. Means let's suppose you need a 10 computers, you can build these 10 computers over the cloud environment, and you can access these computers from anywhere because they are accessible over the internet. You just need an internet connection and one one laptop with good internet connection, and you can able to access these particular devices from any location. Okay, now, so if I'll say the term cloud refers to a network or the internet, in other words, we can say that cloud is something which is present at the remote location. Means, see, it's cloud, it's not like that it is in the somewhere, it is placed somewhere. It's a data center, it's a combination of multiple data centers which is spread across the globe. Okay, cloud can provide services over network, like in public network. Means whatever services, let's suppose you need a couple of computers, you can launch these computers over the cloud environment, and you can access these computers through internet from any location. Let's suppose you need to store some data, you can basically store that data over the cloud storage services, and you can basically access this data. You can upload that data, you can download that data, you can delete that data, and from any location. You just need an internet connection. Okay, like we have a wide area network, LAN or VPN type of things. Okay, so nowadays guys, most of your application like your emails, your HR management servers, like human resource management servers, like your customer relationship management servers, like your OTT platform like Netflix, Prime Videos, all these particular solutions, they are running over the cloud environment. So like your Prime Video, Netflix, they are running over the AWS cloud. Okay. So these, like Netflix is a very big customer for AWS. Now, what is cloud computing? So like cloud computing is an on-demand delivery of IT resources and application via the internet. Means, now whatever resources is we will launch into these particular cloud here, right? So these resources are available on demand. Means you can able to launch the computers, launch the services over these cloud environment within 5 minutes. And these particular services you can able to access from any remote location. Just you need internet, that's it. So cloud offers the on-demand service, means whenever you need it, you can basically launch that service and you can use it. So guys, generally over the cloud, you will get the servers. You can able to launch the virtual desktop. You can run the softwares. You can run the application. You can store the data using the storage services, everything, right? And you can access these particular cloud services using laptop, mobile phone, right? And using the desktop as well. And you just need an internet connection. So this is the like basic architecture of your cloud computing. Now let's try to understand types of cloud. Or before that, let me just see what I have here. So cloud computing is defined as a use of hosted services such as data storage, servers, databases, networking, and software over the internet. It is on-demand availability, means these type of services we can basically launch on the basis of demand, or what? Computer services like servers, data storage, networking. So these are the like databases, these type of services we can launch over the cloud environment. Generally, your data is stored on the physical server, which are maintained by the cloud provider. So guys, just remember one thing. See, whatever data, whatever service we will launch over these cloud environments, generally we will launch this service over the physical servers. But the management of these servers is taken care by the cloud service provider. Okay, we are not going to manage the backend infrastructure. Okay, so they have a different type of models, and we are going to discuss all these models in some time. Okay, now cloud computing is a model for enabling the convenient on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources such as network, servers, storage, application services that can be rapidly provisioned and released with the minimal management effort or the service provider integration. Means we can able to launch these particular applications, storage, servers or network related services very minimal human interaction we need it for that, and we can easily basically get these particular services up and running over the cloud environments. Cloud computing refers to manipulating, configuring, and accessing the application online. It offers online data storage, infrastructure, and application. Now, let's try to, so the example for the cloud service providers, the very first cloud provider, which is AWS, Amazon Web Services. Then we have a Microsoft Azure. We have a Google Cloud Platform, which is GCP, Oracle, Alibaba. There is a lots of cloud available as well. There is a multiple cloud environment are there, but these are the top clouds, top like public cloud basically available in the market. Let's try to understand types of cloud. So guys, we have divided these particular cloud types using two things, using the deployment model and on the basis of service model. Type of clouds as per the deployment model or as per the service model. Now let's try to understand the type of cloud on the basis of deployment model. So generally we have a four types of cloud as per the deployment model. First one is the public cloud. Then we have a private cloud, we have a hybrid cloud, and we have a community cloud. These are the main four types of cloud as per the deployment model. Okay. And generally these questions basically asked in the interview. So that is the reason we are covering here now. As you see, types of cloud based on the deployment, we have a private, public, hybrid, and community. Community is missing here. And based on the service model, we have a infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. Okay, so these are the three types we have on the basis of service model. So if you will see here, In this picture, we have a public cloud, private cloud, hybrid, and community cloud. Okay. So generally we have a 4 types of cloud. There is a one more term, like, see, I have get these reference from multiple websites, right? Somebody, they used to sell a multi-cloud as well, right? They have a hybrid cloud and community cloud, right? So multi-cloud is the new term. So I will cover that as well if somebody asks what is multi-cloud. Okay. Now, let's try to understand what is public cloud. So guys, public cloud, these are the cloud service providers or the CSP providers, and the services which is offered by this public cloud we can able to access just using the internet. And the main cloud providers are the Amazon, which is AWS, Google Cloud, which is GCP, we have a IBM, we have a VMware, we have a Azure, which is Microsoft. These are the example of couple of public clouds, and whatever services available into these particular clouds, we can able to access them through the internet. Okay, so these are the public cloud examples. Now, public cloud refers to a computing services offered by the third party providers over the internet. Means these particular cloud providers offers the compute service. Compute service means your resources, your servers, basically where we are running our applications and all. Okay. The public cloud allows systems and services to be easily accessible to the general public over the internet. Public cloud may be less secure because of its openness. So guys, public cloud is less secure. I am not agree with this statement. We can say, like, in public cloud, anyone can basically create the resources, and he can basically, anyone can able to access the resources. Okay, anyone can create the resources for different type of public, and they are accessible over the internet. But there are the ways which we can use to secure the things. Okay, this type of cloud is used usually for business to consumer type interaction. Here the computing resources is owned, governed, and operated by the government or an academic or a business organization. So generally what used to happen, whatever resources or whatever the infrastructure which is provided to you, it is basically maintained or managed by that particular cloud service provider. Basically, so the thing is, the management of all the network infrastructure, like your routers, switches, firewalls, load balancer, is a responsibility of that particular cloud service provider. And what you as a customer, you will just use these services. That's it. Now, the second type of cloud, which is known as private cloud. The private clouds allow system and services to be accessible within an organization. It offers increased security because of its private nature. Means, guys, now let's try to understand the private cloud. See, couple of examples I have put here as well with regards to the public cloud, like Rackspace is also one of the organization. DigitalOcean is also one of the cloud service provider, right? IBM, Google Cloud, Azure, right? These are the couple of other companies which are also comes under the public cloud category as well. Okay. Now in private cloud, guys, as I have mentioned, let's suppose there is a one company called company. Let's take an example of company called Wipro. Now, this company Wipro has one data center. Let's say that data center is available into the Bangalore. Okay. Now, this company Wipro, what they have done, they have built one data centers which is available in Bangalore location. On this data center, they have basically put couple of computing servers here. Now, these are the servers they have basically created, right? Let's suppose these two servers is for the HR. These two servers, let's say they have put for the finance department. Now these two servers they have created for the sales department. Okay, very basic infrastructure they are having. They have a switches here. And they have here router. Then they have here firewall. And basically this firewall have a connection with the internet service provider. Okay, now guys, apart from that, basically behind this router they also have a couple of other switches. Now behind these switches they have the users, so their users available here. Now, and guys, now if you will see here in this particular deployment, all these users and these particular servers is behind the firewall, right? They are not on the public internet. And when these users used to be inside the office in Bangalore office, they are accessing these particular servers. So guys, tell me one thing here. Let's suppose you as a journal user here over the internet, are you able to access this particular services which are running into this server as a journal user? No, it's not possible, right? Because these servers is designed for the private use, for the Wipro employees only, or the Wipro customers only. Maybe let's suppose Wipro has one customer here, customer A. If this customer A wants to access couple of servers, what they will do? They will build a IPsec tunnel. So now because this Wipro has allowed this customer to access their servers over the secure connection, right? So they can able to access. So guys, this type of cloud is known as a private cloud. So guys, if you will see your on-prem data centers, your on-prem DCs, where you are running your application for the internal purpose, or maybe you are running these applications just for your customers only. All these type of cloud environment is known as a private cloud. Now, guys, what is the problem we will be having with this private cloud environment? First of all, in the private cloud environment, you have to spend lots of amount, right? You have to invest lots of cost to build this entire infrastructure, right? You need a very good manpower who can basically maintain all your cloud infrastructure, right? Even though you have to take care the life cycle of your servers. If there's any issue with your devices, with your backend devices, you need to troubleshoot by yourself. You have to make a backup as well for this particular environment. Let's suppose they're due to some issues in the Bangalore location, and now your customers wants to use these services. If you don't have a backup of this particular data centers, then this is also a problem, right? So guys, these type of this is the example of private cloud. And in some cases private cloud is good, but in some cases private cloud is not good. So there are the advantages and there are the disadvantages. Okay, so I hope you understood the difference between the public cloud and the private cloud. So Mahesh, this is just a data center. See, in what is cloud? Cloud is a combination of multiple data centers. Okay, it's a combination of multiple data centers. So it is also same DC. If I'll say the Amazon also have a same data centers. It's not like that Amazon have a dedicated data centers and all. Okay. And guys, see, whenever we will build this particular infrastructure, we need a dedicated internet connection. We can use lease lines, MPLS, all these type of technologies, right? If I show you here, AWS DC diagram, AWS data center. Like if I will search this AWS data center in India, images, see, they have a data centers like this. It is also this is a data center, but this data center is managed by the AWS. Okay. They are managed by the AWS itself. You don't need to manage. If there is any fault is happening with the servers, you don't need to take care. AWS will going to take care. Okay. But if it's a private cloud, which is owned by your organization, means if there is any issue is happening, you have to manage the things. You have to troubleshoot the things. Okay. So that's the main difference between. See, you like Amazon has these type of data centers. These are the couple of images available over the internet only. Okay. Here basically they used to put these servers and all. We are accessing the servers from these locations only. Okay. Now, so the example of your private cloud is your internal network, your enterprise network, your corporate network, or your data center, which are available in your on-prem, and you are the one who basically own that particular infrastructure. You are going to manage it, and only your users or your employees is going to access this. Okay. Kumaran, you can write your doubt in the chat. Okay, I'll take. Now, computing resources are deployed for one particular organization means in your data center. Just remember, whatever resources is available, they are just deployed only for your organization. This method is more used for infra business interaction, means this is for the infra business interactions where the computing resources can be governed, owned, and operated by the same organization. Like I have taken the Wipro. The meaning of on-prem, like on-prem DC means on-premise data centers. Okay. Now let's try to understand what is the meaning of hybrid cloud. One question I got: how private cloud differs from building servers in VM on premises? See, whatever VMs you are going to build, you will build for your use only, right? In the private cloud, these VMs you are not going to provide the access of these VMs to anyone else apart from your organization peoples. Okay, so that is the main difference. And nobody, like let's suppose me as a user, I cannot able to log in into your cloud environment and I can build my VMs there, right? That is the main difference between private and public cloud. In public cloud, I can create my account and I can start building, creating my VMs, start launching the application, right? But with regards to private cloud, I am not allowed to log in into your data center servers and I cannot able to build the VMs over there, and I'm not able to, I am not able to basically run any type of applications over there. Okay. Now the term is which is hybrid cloud. Let me just see before going into this hybrid cloud what I have on my. So if you will see this particular diagram here with regards to private cloud. In private cloud, basically, these are the data centers which is basically owned by a particular organizations, and they are running the service or servers or the infrastructure with with for this particular organization only. Okay. And like for public users, access of the data center is completely blocked. You will manage the data center, legacy system, hardwares, application, everything you have to manage in the case of private cloud. But in case of public cloud, your cloud service provider will maintain. Let's suppose in case of public, let's suppose there is a new Windows is launched, or there is a like there are the couple of new services they have launched, right? Then by end of that, they have to manage everything. You don't need to do anything. Okay. This is a responsibility of cloud provider. Now let's take an example of hybrid cloud. So guys, hybrid cloud is a combination of public cloud and the combination of private cloud. When you are using both the cloud environment, that is known as hybrid cloud. Let's try to understand this hybrid cloud. These are just the model, guys. Theoretical information you just needed. Okay, so do not take it very, very serious. Okay. Now, the hybrid cloud is a mixture of public and private cloud. Means, let's suppose I will give very good example for hybrid cloud. Don't worry. However, the critical activities are performed using the private cloud, while the non-critical activities are performed using the public cloud. Okay. Now let's try to understand this particular hybrid cloud properly. Now, guys, anyone have any idea about the three-tier architecture of an web server? Let's suppose, let me take different color now. I will choose this one. Let's suppose there is a company called ABC. Now this company ABC, they have started one of the e-commerce business. They have started one of the e-commerce business. Now, tell me one thing. In this e-commerce business, basically what we have generally three type of servers. We have a web servers. These are your web servers. We have a app servers. And you have a database servers. Okay. Now, let's suppose this company ABC has spin up all these servers over the AWS cloud. All these servers available over the AWS environment. Now, guys, tell me one thing. Let's suppose because they are dealing with some type of e-commerce business, right? Means, so guys, tell me one thing. Whenever you used to purchase a product from Amazon website or the Flipkart website, generally you used to save your credit card details or your debit card details, right? Whenever you will purchase, you will done the transaction and on all these particular details they used to store. So generally these is a some type of critical information which is available over the database servers. And now, because you have hosted this particular thing over the AWS cloud, let's suppose if this AWS cloud can basically log in and get get or they can basically get they will just log in into the database servers and they can steal all this critical information of the users or whatever users database you are having. They can basically steal all this info, but it is not true, but I'm just taking a hypothetical example. So these type of organization, what they used to do, they used to basically deploy their resources into two places. What they used to do, the critical servers, they will run into the private data centers. So let's suppose in our case, these are the two critical servers, what they will do, we will run these two servers into our private data center. And this data center is managed by us only. And these web servers and app servers, what we will do, we will run over the cloud environments. Let's suppose over the cloud service provider, which is AWS. And we can basically make the connection between your AWS cloud and your private cloud using we can use the IPsec VPN, or there is a one more term called direct connect, DX. Do not put more thing in the DX just you can think about, we have just connected both AWS environment and your data center by using the MPLS link for your info. Now guys, because we have basically we are putting all these database servers into our private data centers, and these private data centers where we have our own security postures, we have our firewalls, right? We have all our security appliances who is basically protecting these database servers from any type of attacks. This is known as hybrid cloud environment, where we are running couple of servers over the public cloud and we are running couple of servers over the private cloud. Means we are using both type of cloud. This is known as hybrid cloud environment. This is the example of your hybrid cloud. In hybrid cloud, what we are using private cloud, which is your data centers managed by your company, and we are using public cloud as well, like AWS or Azure, for running our services. So what we used to generally perform in public cloud, we hosted the non-core applications, mean we will host the less critical application like web servers. Web server just have your web code, that's it, right? And in your private cloud, what we will use to do, we will host the most secure servers like your database servers. We will put into our private cloud just for the maintenance purpose. So this is the example of hybrid cloud, guys. Let's see what I have here. So the hybrid cloud is a mixture of public and private cloud. However, the critical activities are performed using the private cloud, while the non-critical activities or applications we will run over the public cloud. This type of cloud can be used for both type of interactions, business to business and business to consumer. This deployment method is called hybrid cloud, as the computing resources are bound together by different clouds basically. No, Sunil, we cannot able to deploy these type of things like one firewall in your cloud and one firewall in your public cloud and one firewall in the private cloud. Okay, this is not feasible because see, I think you know the answer why we cannot able to build this type of setup, because see, management is different, right? In cloud providers, generally we are deploying the VMs. In on-prem, in most of the time we have the hardware appliances. Okay. So what we used to do in that case, let's suppose, see, we will not do these type of HA. Just remember one thing. What we used to do, we will deploy the two firewalls. Let's suppose one Palo Alto firewall over the AWS and one Palo Alto firewall over the cloud, over the on-prem. And what we will basically push the same type of security policies into both the devices to get the same type of security. Okay. So this is what we used to perform generally. Now, let's try to understand the last type of cloud, which is community cloud. The community cloud allows systems and services to be accessible by the group organizations. Computing resources are provided for a community and the organization. Let's try to understand this particular thing. What is community cloud? So in community cloud, what happens? Let's take an example. Let's suppose There are three companies. Let's suppose we have a company called Wipro. We have a second company called SCL. We have a third company called TCS. What they have done, these three companies, they have decided to basically run their servers over one data center. So whatever money, whatever resource, whatever infrastructure they need to build to run this data center, all this amount is basically paid by these three companies, and management of this particular data center is also done by these particular three companies only. Means in your community cloud, there are multiple companies, they will come together and they will build their environment. This is your community cloud basically. Multiple organization that did the investment to start one of the data centers where they will basically run their particular servers, particular infrastructure. Okay. So that is the example of your community cloud. So generally, what used to happen in community cloud, all the hardwares, they generally store on the on-prem environment. Maybe you can basically build this particular data center. Let's suppose there is a Wipro, SCL, and TCS. They are coming together. So what you can do? Maybe you are building this data center at Wipro office, or you can build. You can, or all these three. They will agree and they will take a. They will purchase one land, and over this land they can basically build the data center. It's totally depends on their agreement. Okay. Or they can build at a third party provider. And guys, generally, who can access the services from this particular cloud? Services is only accessible for the organization one engineers, organization two peoples, and organization three people. Means Wipro users can access the services, SCL engineer, SCL employees can access the services, and the TCS employees can access these services, because this data center is owned by these three companies on the basis of shared protocols and shared policies. They can able to build, maybe they can put one firewall. If you heard the name of context, right? They can put one firewall here. They will create three context. For one for Wipro, one for SCL, one for TCS, and they can create a security policies and they can provide the access accordingly. That is known as community cloud. There is a one more example will be there, which is a multi-cloud. In multi-cloud, what used to happen? Let me just tell you. In multi-cloud, let's suppose you wants to run your application. Okay. You wants to run your application. You need around 10 servers to run your application. So what you did, you have purchased 10 servers from AWS. You have rented out 10 servers on AWS cloud, and you have rented out the same 10 servers over the Azure environment as well. Okay. Or maybe you have basically rented out 5 servers from AWS and 5 servers from Azure, and you have hosted your application into both the clouds. This is known as multi-cloud environment, where in that particular cloud environment, you have a servers on more than 2 public clouds. Okay. So this is a multi-cloud environment. Now, difference between different types of clouds. Let's try to understand the main difference. Only the theoretical one we need to know here. So this public cloud, then generally these cloud is hosted. So public cloud is hosted at the service provider end, means If you are using AWS cloud, then this particular environment is hosted by the AWS. It is managed by the AWS and all, right? In private cloud, you have to host your environment at your on-prem data centers. In hybrid cloud, enterprise and the community cloud at the third party place. So table 4. So guys, this particular like public cloud is suitable for large enterprise customers. Private cloud is also suitable for large enterprise customers. Hybrid cloud is suitable for small and mid-sized companies. And community cloud is basically good for finance, health, and legal companies who is dealing with these type of business. Finance related companies, health related companies, and all. Okay. Access. Your public cloud is accessible over the internet. Private cloud we generally use to access over the VPN or the internet, like over the MPLS connections for the security. Hybrid cloud also similar, and the community cloud also similar. VPN or either the MPLS connection. Security. In public cloud, low security because we are ultimately hosting their services over the public environment, means we are hosting our applications over a server which is maintained and managed by some third party company. Private, which is the most secured one. Hybrid is moderate, and community is also secure. Cost. In public cloud, very cheap. In private cloud, very high cost. Hybrid, cost effective, and community also cost effective. Owners. Public cloud is owned by the service provider. Private is owned by the particular enterprise or particular company. Hybrid also particular companies. And the community, it is basically owned by the particular community, all the particular group of companies. Reliability, this is moderate, here very high, medium to high, and very high. Users, organization, public, like individual means any organization are the users for public cloud, or individuals can also create their account, create their infrastructure. Private cloud is only used by the business organizations, the company who has owned this particular private cloud, business organizations and community members. Scalability. So guys, in public cloud, we get a very high scalability. Here scalability is limited, in hybrid very high, in community very limited. So these are the couple of features. Now let's try to understand types of cloud as per the service model. So guys, generally we have a three type of service model. The first type of service model is known as a infrastructure as a security, IaaS. Second service model is known as a platform as a service, PaaS. And the third model is known as a software as a service, which is SaaS. These are the three type of service models available. Now let's try to understand these particular service model properly. What is SaaS, what is PaaS, and what is infrastructure as a service. Now, so first I take the reference from here, guys, and after that we will discuss by with one of the very good example for that. So guys, tell me one thing. To start, let's suppose, let me just draw one network diagram first. So guys, generally to start a company and you want to run couple of applications, so what you have to do, you need a hardware resources, right? So let's suppose I have around 100 users. I've just denoted two computer, but let's suppose we have 100 users here. Now I have around here 20 servers. Now these particular users computer or these servers, they have a connectivity with the switches, right? Switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, right? They have a connectivity like this with all these switches. And apart from these switches, you also have a wireless environment. You have, let's suppose, couple of access point as well, wireless AP. Let's say you have around 20 access points across your buildings. You have one wireless LAN controller. And after that, these particular switches have a connectivity with one of the load balancer, let's suppose, or maybe one of, okay, let me just denote the load balancer as well here. And after that, we have a firewall here. And this firewall have a connectivity router R1 and router R2. And this router have a connectivity one of the internet service provider. And here we have a service provider too. Now this is the, generally these are the couple of components or couple of devices which you will see in the a typical data centers, right? Now, tell me one thing. Let's suppose this data center belongs to a company called XYZ. If this data center belongs to a company called XYZ, then guys, everything what is happening with this particular data center is your responsibility, right? You have to make arrangement of all these particular devices, right? Now, you have to basically maintain all the cables, all the power, means everything you have to maintain. You have to manage. You have to hire a couple of employees who can basically manage your infrastructure. Everything you have to manage, right? Means all the responsibility is yours. And by end of the day, what you are getting? You are getting these 20 servers. What we are getting? We are getting, by end of the day, we are getting these 20 servers where you are running your applications and all, right? So now according to the service model, if we will try to understand the service model, which is, first try to understand in on-prem, as I have mentioned, all the networking components like your routers, switches, firewalls, load balancer, cables, everything we have to manage. Storage we have to manage. Servers we have to manage, means we have to purchase the servers, right? All the in servers, whatever the CPUs, whatever the RAM, whatever the hard disk, everything we have to manage. Power, cables, everything. Virtualization software we need to install. We have to run the operating system like Linux and Windows. These VMs we have to spin on this virtualized environment, right? Whatever middleware softwares we need. Let's suppose we wants to run a Java application, then we have to install couple of Java applications. Let's suppose we are running couple of Python based application, then we have to install the Python related softwares and all, right? Runtime, data, application, and after that we have to run our application as well. Means all these particular responsibility we have to manage in your data centers. But if it comes to the infrastructure as a security, in infrastructure as a security, what you will get? All the networking related stuff you will get from the cloud service provider, let's suppose from the AWS. Means whatever routers, switches, firewalls, load balancer you needed for that, everything you will get from the AWS environment. Storage is managed and maintained by the AWS. Servers is managed and maintained by the AWS. Means installation of these devices over the rack, if there is anything happening with the rack, they now their responsibility to change the things. Virtualization, because to run your operating system and all, we need a virtualization environment. Like we have to we can use the hypervisor based virtualization, we can use the VMware ESXi based hypervisor, right? All these virtualization is also managed by the cloud providers. What are our responsibility here? See, all this infrastructure is provided to you. What you have to do? you can install the operating system. Even though, if you will see here, from the operating system, half of the things is comes under the your management and half of the things comes under the cloud management. Means what you will get, whatever, let's say you want to run the Windows, then Windows operating system you will get. This particular cloud provider will provide you the image for Windows. What you have to do, you have to select and you have to run that particular Windows. You have to run the middleware software, means Java, Python, these applications you have to run. You have to basically, if you want any runtime data or application, means these are the things which you will manage. And apart from these things, everything is managed by the AWS. That is known as infrastructure as a security. Means they will give you one server where all the networking are available. What you have to do, you can basically run the operating system. On top of this operating system, you can run the or whatever the necessary software or packages you need to run your application. That's it. This is your infrastructure as a security. Means they will give you the networking infrastructure. You have to just go and you have to run the operating system and you have to run your application. This is known as infrastructure as a security. Now the second model is known as a platform as a security. In platform as a security, what happens? All the networking, storage, servers, virtualization, even though the operating system, even though the middleware and the runtime, all these particular thing is maintained and managed by the cloud service providers. What you need to do, you have to just run your application and you have to start working on it. What you have to run the application and you have to start working on it. That's it. You don't need to take care anything. You can install your application and you can start using the things. And after that, we have a software as a service where application data, runtime, middleware, OS, virtualization, servers, storage, and networking, everything is managed by the cloud service provider. What you have to do, you have to go and you have to start using that particular service. What you have to do, you have to go and you have to start using the service. That is known. These are the three type of models available over the cloud environment. Now, let me just give you the idea about it, how these particular things works and all with the some type of examples. Okay. So guys, I will ask these particular questions with you. Let's suppose, I hope everyone from the networking background and you should have a knowledge of EVNG, right? I know most of around 99% people know what is EVNG. So guys, what is the use of EVNG generally? So guys, what is the use of EVNG generally? Write your answers at least here. And I know you know what is the use of EVNG. It's a network simulator, right? Now, let me just give you an example. What I have done basically, I have basically done one thing. I have basically provided you one server. This is one of the server which I have provided you. On this server, basically, I have also connected this server with the internet service provider. Means this server got the internet connection, and on this server, I have also installed the VMware. I have installed the VMware software in this server now. On the same server, I have also put the image of EVNG. EVNG image also I have put into these servers. Now, what I have given these particular things to you, and I just told you, you can start installation of EVNG and start building your labs. Now, what type of model it is? It is a software as a service, or platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service. I have provided the networking. I have provided the hypervisor, which is VMware, and I have also provided the EVNG image. Most of you are saying PaaS and SaaS, and all of you are wrong, because PaaS and it's a infrastructure as a security. It's a IaaS. Why it is a infrastructure security? What we are getting? Let's try to understand from here. What we are getting here in this particular. What I am saying, let's do one thing. Let me just take this picture here. Okay, now, if you will see this particular picture here, according to infrastructure security, what are the things are available in your infrastructure security? What are your responsibility? To install the operating system, it's your responsibility. Install all the necessary application, and the runtime and the middleware is your responsibility. And guys, what here I am providing? I am providing the network, I am providing the storage, I am providing the server, and I am also providing you the hypervisor, which is virtualization software. And also I'm providing the EVNG image. Now you have to install everything. Now you have to basically install the EVNG, means you have to install the operating system. You have to run the middleware, means you have to install all the necessary softwares. Like you have to upload all the images in your EVNG, right? You have to build your topology and all, right? And after that, you have to build and you have to practice it. So this is a infrastructure as a security. Let me just go in some different way, because I just wanted to explain you this thing properly. Let me just take some different example. Keep this particular picture in your mind. Let's take an example. Let's suppose I have one server here. Okay. This server have a connectivity with the one of the switch. Now this switch have a connectivity with one of the firewall, and this firewall have a connectivity with the internet. Now on this particular servers, I am giving the what I am providing any user. See, in this server, let's suppose I have a 32 core of CPU, and I have around 256 GB of RAM, and I am having around 8 TB of SSD. This is the configuration of this particular server. Now, I have here, now I have around 4 users. Now what these 4 users wants to do, they want, one first user wants to run a Kali Linux to host one of the application. The second user wants to run the Windows server. Third user wants to run the Ubuntu Linux. And the fourth user, let's suppose, wants to run one of the, let's take an example of, I can say, CentOS or Red Hat. Now, these are the 4 users who wants to utilize this particular server. So what I have done, because they wants to run these 4 operating systems, so on the same server, I have basically put the Kali Linux ISO file. I have put the Ubuntu Linux ISO file. I have put the CentOS Ubuntu file, CentOS ISO file, and I have also provided the Windows iOS. It's iOS file. Now what they wants to do now, these users, and I have provided the networking. So I have provided the, they can able to, these users can able to type the IP address, which is 151.7.100. So they can able to get the access of this server, and after that they can start deploying their VMs and all according to their requirement. So this, what is the model I am providing to these particular peoples in this particular scenario, guys? What type of models it is? It is a infrastructure as a security, means I have just provided the infrastructure. Now it's your responsibility to install the operating system, your responsibility to install the application, your responsibility to run the middleware softwares. And if anything is happening, let's suppose if there is any problem with your application, with your data, with your runtime, with your middleware, you are the responsible person for that. You are the person for maintaining and managing these particular tasks. If there is any problem is happening with the virtualization, with the servers, with the storage, with the networking, then cloud service provider is responsible for that. Now, what I did basically for these users, let's suppose on these particular servers, let's take an example, they wants to install one of the Java application. They wants to run this Java application, and this application, what he is doing, he is basically is for the healthcare customers. Means what these doctors and they are using this particular healthcare application, what they are using this application for providing the medicines and all. Now what I have done this time, let's suppose, now this time what I have basically installed these particular operating system as well into these servers for these users. And because they need a Java, so I have also installed the Java related application as well. I have installed the JDK, Java application, or Java JDK or Java SDK, all these particular Java environment as well on my, on these particular VMs or these particular virtual machines. And now what I have given these 4 users only, what they have to run their application. And if they are just only running the application, then it's a platform as a service. Okay. And in terms of software as a service, what everything we will do, we will install this application as well, all the runtime, middleware software as well, operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, networking, everything. What we will just directly provide one console to the doctors, and these doctors, they will use this particular console. That's it. Now let's try to understand the same thing by using couple of examples. Guys, tell me one thing. If I take example of Gmail, let's suppose there is a one user one. He has one Gmail account and he wants to send one email to user two. Then Gmail comes under which type of service model? It is a software as a service. Means what we are doing, we are just using the Gmail console and we are just using the service. So like application like your Gmail, your Salesforce, CRM, Office 365, Google Docs, right? All these particular applications, your Google Drive, there is a hell lot of applications nowadays which are the SaaS based applications, software as a service. Let's take an example of WhatsApp. If you want to use the WhatsApp, what we are using this WhatsApp for sending the messages and all, right? What type of service is offering, what type of service we are getting from WhatsApp? It is a software as a service. We are just using that particular application. We are not responsible for the installation or for developing the code of the WhatsApp application, right? It's not our responsibility. So these are the example of software as a service where we are using a software service which is offered by that particular application. Now we have a platform as a service, and guys, this platform, this SaaS application is most of the time used by the end users. Just remember. Now we have a platform as a service. In platform as a service, what we will get? We will get basically, we will just provide one platform, and on that platform we will install all the necessary softwares, and now the software developer use that particular platform to develop their softwares. That comes under the platform as a service. And the example like a Google App Engine, AWS Elastic Beanstalk. And after that, we have a infrastructure as a service. And infrastructure as a service is used by the IT administrators. Like we are using EC2 service. We are using the Microsoft Azure services or the Google Compute Engines. This is known as infrastructure as a security. Now let me tell you the thing, guys. See, for infrastructure security, if you are having this type of business, if you are having services like this, then what you have to do? You see the business model of AWS and Google Cloud, they are targeting the customers who is dealing with the infrastructure as a service. Okay. And the business model of Azure, they are focusing towards the software as a service user customers. Because if you know, Microsoft have lots of plug and play services like the Office 365, Google, right? They have a lots of services basically. And the business model of Azure is to target the users, to target the clients who just want the SaaS services. And the business model of AWS and GCP is based on IaaS. Okay. Now let's see the same thing from here with this example. In private cloud, what used to happen? You have to purchase a car. In infrastructure security, what? You will get a key and you can just start driving this particular car. In platform as a service, what you will get some type of public transport which you can use to go. like trains. In trains, what we are just purchasing one ticket and we are just going from one place to another place. So these are the platform as a service. Example for platform as a service. Infrastructure infrastructure as a service. So these are the couple of companies like AWS, NetMagic, Reliance, Sifi, Tata, GCP. These are the couple of cloud service providers whose main business is towards the infrastructure as a service. Rackspace will be also there. They focused on the infrastructure as a business model. For platform as a service, we have a couple of companies like Google App Engine, Salesforce, Windows Azure, AppFog, OpenShift, and your cloud from the VMware, right? Their business model to target the customers, which is platform as a service. And software as a service, we have a couple of like Google apps. If I'll say the example of Google, right? We have a Google Sheet, we have a Google Drive, we have a Google Docs. All these are the example of software as a service. Means in Google Sheet we just using, yeah, using the sheets to filling the information, right? We are not installing any type of application, we are not building any type of code, nothing like that, right? These services available just by a web browser, like your go-to meeting, Oracle CRM, right? Salesforce. All these are the example of your software as a service environment. Okay. So infrastructure as a service, all the physical resources, all the hardware like laptops, desktops, cables, switches, routers, data centers, and the storage devices are the part of infrastructure. Means all these things you will get from the cloud providers. In the cloud computing, all the infrastructure is virtualized and provided to the customers as a service. This is called infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service provider provides the following service. Means they will give you the compute service, means you can able to create the virtual machines. Computing as a service includes virtual central processing units, virtual memory for the VMs. Means they will give you the CPU, they will give you the RAM along with all the networking infrastructure. They will give you the storage, network, load balancer, all these particular things you will get. Example AWS, Azure, GCP, IBM Cloud, Rackspace, DigitalOcean, and Oracle Cloud. Guys, I have also put couple of links. Okay, I will share these notes as well. Okay, so you have to go through with these particular links. Check it out, the information. Okay, in platform as a service, as I have mentioned, platform as a service is a cloud computing platform where a third party offers necessary softwares and hardware resources. These offering enables clients to develop, run, and manage business applications without maintaining the infrastructure required for such softwares and the development processes. Okay. What are the services you will get in platform as a service model? Programming languages like Python environment you will get, Java environment you will get, right? Application framework, databases, and tools. Software as a service, SaaS is also known as on-demand software. It is a software distribution model in which services are hosted by a cloud service provider. These services are available to end users over the internet, so the end users do not need to install any software on their devices to access these services. Example, AWS Elastic. Beanstalk, Windows, Azure, Force.com, Google App Engine, OpenSAP, SAP application, AWS Lambda, Azure Functions, etc. Now we have a SaaS offering, right? Where you can see Dropbox service, Google Drive, OneDrive, Outlook, Gmail, Google Apps, GoToMeetings, right? All these comes under the software as a service. So businesses services like ERP, CRM, billing, all sales, all these particular software comes under the SaaS of offering environment. Okay. Now let's try to understand the cloud computing architecture. Cloud computing architecture and its component. So the architecture of the cloud computing contains many different components. It includes client infrastructures, applications, services, runtime clouds, storage space, management, and security. Means if I'll say the cloud computing infrastructure, what happens basically generally that infrastructure is divided into two parts, or the architecture of your cloud computing is divided into two parts. We have a front end and we have a back end. In front end, we have a clients, then we have a internet, and after that we have a back end where we have a all the networking infrastructure, all the storage infrastructure, right? And on top of this infrastructure, we have a high virtualization, and on top of virtualization, we are running the operating systems, runtimes, services, and applications. And these particular application and services is accessed by these particular clients. So this is the infrastructure we are having, or these are the, this is the basic architecture of your cloud computing. Means in cloud computing, what used to happen, if you will see, these are your end users. And over the cloud, we have a servers, virtual desktop, software platforms, application, and storage. Okay. So client infra means client infrastructure is a front end component that provides a GUI. It helps users to interact with the cloud environment. Means what? Let's suppose you want to access the AWS, then what? AWS provide you the AWS console where you can log in and you can basically run your services. Application, the application that can be any software platform which a client wants to access, then service, a service component manage which type of service you can access according to the client requirements. Three cloud computing services are SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, which we have already covered. Runtime cloud means runtime cloud offers the execution and runtime environment to the virtual machines like your hypervisors and the any other necessary softwares. A storage where we will basically store our data, our VMs related data and all basically. Infrastructure includes all your networking device like servers, storage, virtual softwares, right? Routers, switches, everything. Management, this component manage like application services, runtime cloud, all these particular things we have to manage. Okay. Security, we have to take care of the security part as well. Because if somebody is using our infrastructure, then we need to make sure all the resources are secure and there nobody can able to access the resources apart from that particular customer. Then internet, we need a good internet connections to provide the good service with the good bandwidth. Okay. I put these links as well. Just go through with these basic things. Now let me just cover the main thing, which is the main characteristics of the cloud computing. So the first characteristics of your cloud computing is on-demand self-service. Means what they offer, they will offer you the services whenever you need it. Let's suppose you have a need of 20 computers which have a 2 core of CPU and which have a 8 GB of RAM just only for 7 days. What you can do, you can basically rent out these particular resources from the cloud environment, or you need a 20 servers with these particular capacity to launch couple of servers. So they are available on the basis of demand. Cloud computing allows the users to use a web service and resources on demand. One can log into a website at any time and use them. Means they just needs to log into the cloud service provider website or console, and from that console they can able to create these resources. Okay, now multi-tenancy and resource pooling. This is the another characteristic of benefit you will get. Means one of the most important feature of the cloud technology is multi-tenancy, and guys, I will discuss this multi-tenancy and all. Means we can able to create a account for your development users, or we can create account for developers, for testing environment, for the production environment like dev test and prod. These type of accounts or accounts we can able to create. Means because they supports the multi-tenancy. It can be defined as a software architecture that enables the single program instance to provide services to multiple end users. This features enables the uses of the same computing resources. Even though we can also do the resource pooling, means we can able to share these resources as well. We can share our resources with different customers as well, a bit different accounts, or within the same account we can share these resources. This supports multi-tenancy and resource pooling. Broad network access means these particular cloud consoles we can able to access from anywhere. We just need a internet connections. Since cloud compute is completely web based, so it can be accessed from anywhere at any time. Rapid elasticity. It is very easy to scale up or scale down the resources at any time. Means let's suppose, guys, you have heard the name of like big billion day sales, right? Or Amazon. Amazon also used to run lots of sales and all, right? So means when they used to run these sales, let's suppose they have a couple of servers. Let's say these servers is only able to handle the traffic for 10,000 users. Because now these organizations they are running the sales. Let's say that sales will go for 3 days. And during these 3 days, maybe they are getting the 10 time traffic. Means that time, let's suppose they are getting 100K users traffic into these servers. So what they need, instead of having here 2 servers, now they need 8 additional servers, right? So what cloud providers will do, as your load increase into these servers, they will basically launch the additional servers as per your requirement. And as your load went down, what they will start deleting as well these particular server. Means you have a capability of scale in and scale out according to the load. Okay, so that particular feature is also available with the cloud providers. Okay, resource pooling means cloud computing allows multiple tenants to share a pool of resources. One can share single physical instance of the hardware, database, and basic infrastructure. Means resource pooling is there. Measured and reporting services. Cloud system offers the metering capability to monitor, control, and optimize the uses of the cloud resources. Automation. We can able to use the automation tools like Terraform, Python, Ansible, CloudFormation template, and all to automate all the creation of this particular infrastructure over the cloud environment. Resiliency. Cloud computing delivers continuous server uptime, and hence it offers resilient services. It offers the capability to recover from any service interruption. Means what we can do, because these cloud providers is spread across multiple locations across the globe. Even though let's take an example of Mumbai region. In Mumbai region, what they used to do, they used to basically create a multiple availability zone, and these particular availability zone they used to have a multiple data centers. And what we can do, we can run our application into all these particular data centers, means they will give you the resiliency a lot. Okay. Apart from these services, large network access means what? You can run the services because that service is available over the internet, so users can able to access these services. Work from any location means you can able to, if your resources are over the cloud environment, you can go at any location. You just need an internet connections to log in, and you can able to perform your task. Comfortable payment structure means you can basically pay as you go, means whatever you will use, you have to pay the amount for that. If you are not using the cloud resources, you don't need to pay anything. So they have a very comfortable payment structure. Service excellency, easy maintenance means you will get a better service because the internal hardware is maintained by the cloud service providers. So you don't need to do anything if there is any fault is happening in a backend. Easy maintenance. Maintenance is also very easy because you don't need to pay any amount for the maintenance, means for upgrading the software patches, right? For upgrading the backend devices, if there is any type of outdated devices are there, you don't need to do anything. Means you don't need to maintain the life cycle of a product here. You will get the flexibility, right? You can, flexibility means if you want to use the services, you can use it. If you want to destroy, you can destroy it, means they are very flexible. Economical and security means you will get the security, and they are very economical, means you don't need to pay any upfront amount to them. You can just pay some small amount, and you can start their services. They are highly available because their data center is spread across the globe, means in most of, like they have their data centers into multiple countries at multiple locations, so they are highly available. Auto scaling is possible. Whenever you needed more resources, you can automate these things. So if there is a high traffic is coming in your environment, then they will launch some additional resources. When that traffic went down, they will destroy the additional resources. So auto scaling is there. Scalability is there, means you can scale in and you can scale down. So these are the features which are available in your cloud providers. Like, so as I have mentioned, these are the main characteristics: resource pooling, on-demand self-service, easy maintenance, scalability and rapid elasticity, economical, measure and reporting service, security, automation, availability, large network access, right? So these are the main features, a main characteristic. I have taken these particular slides from internet, so you can also read these particular slides. Okay. Now let's try to understand advantages of the cloud computing, a benefit of the cloud. So the main benefit of your cloud is the first thing, which is cost saving, flexibility. They are available 24 by 7, reliability, scalability, unlimited storage, cost saving, easy backup and store, automating software updates, and performance. These are the couple of advantages you will be getting with regards to these servers. And I can say like pay as you go, easy maintenance, on demand, automatic system, large network access, great availability of the resources, right? So all these particular features you will get. So with regards to benefit, cost saving and lower infrastructure price means, you, let's suppose if you as a startup company, you don't need to basically invest lots of amount to build the infrastructure. You can just rent out this infrastructure from the cloud service provider, and you can start using the things. High speed, you will get a very good speed because all the regions of this AWS, they are connected with the dedicated AWS internet connection or AWS fiber backbone network. Okay. Nearly unlimited storage space. You will get the unlimited storage space if you need it. automatic software updates and integration, reliability, mobility, all these like pay as you go, quick deployment, security, flexibility, expand IT resources, easy management, right? All these are the benefits you are getting with regards to the cloud network if you are using. There are a couple of disadvantages also there with regards to cloud. Operating from cloud to on premises means, let's see, whenever you will move your resources from on-prem to the cloud, there are a couple of challenges you will face, right? You need a skilled person who has a good understanding of these cloud environments to maintain, to install, to migrate your servers, right? Sometimes there is a downtime because see, by end of the day, we are we are spinning the virtual machines over the cloud service provider devices, right? So maybe these provider devices, they have a networking infrastructure, right? So what happens sometime these cloud service providers, they need to perform some task of some type of, you can say, cleanup of the networking devices and all, right? So they need a downtime. Let's say they wants to replace a router, they needs to replace a switch, or they needs to upgrade the firewall and all, right? So there are sometime little bit downtime. Restricted control means what will happen? You will not get the access of the hypervisor. You will not get the access of servers. You will only have the access of the VM which you have installed. So there is a restricted control means half of the control is available with the user, half of the control with the cloud service provider. They have a rigid contracts, requires a strong good internet connection. With the strong bandwidth means you need a good internet connection, right? Limited control of the infrastructure, as I have mentioned, we have a limited control. We just have a access of upper layer or the surface layer. We don't have a access of the lower layer devices and all, right? Ongoing cost, security. Some, let's suppose if your application have a, some critical data, right, which is very very critical for you, then there's a security issues, vendor lock-in, technical issues, understanding costs, slower backup and restore, right? Varied performances, no redundancy, vulnerability to attacks, may not get all features, bandwidth issues, right? So these are the couple of disadvantages. But I can say one thing. See, cloud service providers, they are working very hard to basically overcome all these type of disadvantages which are available here. Most of them is solved if you are using AWS or you are using Azure or you are using GCP. Okay, most of the issues has been resolved. Now generally guys, what type of application we generally use to host over the cloud? So if you will see, like a art application, like we have a Visio, Adobe, Vistaprint, Microsoft Whiteboard, all these type of application we use to install over the cloud environments only. File storage platform like Mediafire, Hotfile, Rapid Share, all these type of file related application we use to host. Image editing application, Footer, Adobe Creative Cloud, right? Data storage application like Dropbox, OneDrive, Box, Mozi, Google Suites, all these applications are running over the cloud environments only. Antivirus application like Kaspersky endpoint protection, Sophos endpoint protection, right? Entertainment application and OTT application like Netflix, Prime Videos, Hotstar. Meeting application like Zoom, GoToMeeting, Teams, Webex. Social media application like Facebook, Yammer, Twitter, LinkedIn. Accounting and account application and management application, GPS application, e-commerce application like Amazon, eBay. All these type of application is hosted over the cloud environments only. There is one question is came, what is vendor lock? Vendor lock means, see, whatever devices you may get, maybe you will not get the root access of these devices, right? Maybe you will not get the access of backend devices, right? That is known as vendor lock-in. What type of organization using these cloud services like Netflix, Pinterest, Xerox, Instagram, Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Flipkart? All these are the big customers who is using these particular cloud services. Okay. Now, guys, let's take a break for 5 minutes, and after that, we will continue with the virtualization. Okay. So, guys, if you have seen, there's a one term I have told here like vendor lock-in, right? Vendor locking means what used to happen. Let's suppose there is a company called ABC. There's a company called ABC, and let's suppose this company starts using the services from AWS. Now, this company ABC has a huge dependency on AWS to run their business. And let's suppose now if this ABC company wants to migrate from AWS cloud to the Azure cloud, but it has a huge dependency over the AWS cloud to run their business, and he is not able to migrate towards the another cloud. That is known as vendor lock-in. Okay. Now, I hope I have started the recording. Okay, now let's move towards the virtualization. So, guys, I hope, what do you mean by the virtualization? Anyone have any idea about the virtualization? See, guys, these particular cloud computing is possible because of these particular virtualization technology. In virtualization, what we used to do, we used to purchase one hardware, and now on that hardware, what we will install multiple operating system like VM1, 2, 3, 4, 5, multiple operating system. That is known as virtualization. Like in my case, let me just show you my virtualized environment. Let's suppose this is my main PC, right? On this main PC, I'm running one of the server. This is my VMware, and on this VMware, if you will see, I have a hell lot of images, right? I have a hacking lab where I have a Kali Linux image, Parrot, multiple machines, right? Windows, Linux, everything. I have a EVNG, Windows XP, Windows Server, Palo Alto, Panorama, some Linux servers, everything. Means what I have done because of the virtualization technique, what I have done on my main system, on my laptop, in my laptop, I have around 16 core of CPUs, and I have around 64 GB of RAM, and I have a 2 TB of SSD. So what I will do on this laptop, I have basically installed one of the virtualization software called VMware Workstation. Now on this VMware Workstation, what I have, let's suppose I have installed one Palo Alto firewall. Let's suppose I have installed one Kali Linux. I have installed one Windows server. I have installed one of the Linux server. I have installed, let's suppose, one of the test PC, which is your Windows 7 machine or Windows XP machine, right? And now all these particular machines, these particular VMs which I have installed or which I have deployed or which I have spent over this particular on this laptop with the help of this VMware software. And what these machines they are using, these particular resources. 16 CPU, 64 GB of RAM and 2 TB SSD. I can divide. I can give here for firewall. I can give 4 CPU and I can give around 8 GB of RAM and I can give like 100 GB of storage for SSD. For Kali Linux, I can give 1 CPU. I can give 4 GB of RAM, and I can give 80 GB of SSD. Means all these particular resources is now shared between these particular virtual machine. That is known as virtualization. So virtualization is a technique, is a technology which allow us to install, to run multiple type of operating system into the virtualized environment. Okay, so virtualization in cloud computing, virtualization is a technique which allows to share a single physical instance of a resource or an application among multiple customer organization. Creating a virtual machine over an existing operating system and hardware is known as virtualization. Means what we are doing, we have a existing hardware and we are running one of the operating system on that hardware, right? And what we are on this top of this operating system, we are installing one of the hypervisor. Hypervisor is a virtualization software, and on top of this hypervisor we are running the virtual machines. And a virtual machine provides an environment that is logically separated from the underlying hardwares. Okay, virtualization play a very important role in the cloud computing technology. Normally in the cloud computing, users share the data present in the cloud like application etc, but actually with the help of virtualization, user shares the infrastructure. Means whatever infrastructure you will get, everything is virtualized. Okay, and if you will see here on, I have shown the example of my setup, but if you will go here, if you will check in this particular diagram, if you will see, I have a hardware. In this hardware, what I have a CPU, I have a RAM, I have a SSD, and I have a network card. Now on this hardware, what I have installed one of the operating system. Let's say I have installed Windows 10 as operating system, and on top of this Windows 10 operating system, I have installed one of the hypervisor, which is VMware workstation. Now this VMware workstation, now on this hypervisor, like on this VMware workstation, I have installed VM1, which is a Linux machine, VM2, which is a Windows machine, VM3, which again a Linux, then Windows, VM4 is again a Windows machine. These 4 windows, and all these particular 4 windows, they will share these particular hardware resources. That is virtualization. Why I'm explaining this particular thing? Because in your cloud, whenever you will deploy any type of VM over the AWS environment, it is gonna deploy over the one of the hypervisor, which is known as Gen hypervisor. I am going to cover that as well. Okay, if you will see here, so generally we have a 2 type of hypervisor: type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor. Now in type 1 hypervisor, what happens? We have a host machine. We have a physical hardware which have a RAM, CPU, SSD, and NIC card. And now what we used to do on top of this host machine, we will not install any type of Linux or any type of Windows. What we directly install the hypervisors like your VMware vSphere, Citrix Gen Server, or Microsoft Hypervisor, or your VMware ESXi. Means we will install these hypervisor directly on the hardware, on the bare metal device, on the physical hardware. And now on top of this particular hypervisor, we will install our VMs. So these type of hypervisor is known as a type 1 hypervisor. We have a type 2 hypervisor. What we have, where we have a host machine, which is physical hardware. On top of physical hardware, we will run the operating system. Let's say we are running here Windows 10, or maybe we are running some type of Linux, or we are running Mac. Now on top of Mac, we are running some type of hypervisor like VMware workstation or VirtualBox. And on top of this particular hypervisor, this VirtualBox, we are running our VMs. So in type 2, we need a operating system. like a Windows operating system. On top of this operating system, we will run the hypervisors. Okay. So these are two type of hypervisors available. So hypervisor is a program that allows multiple operating systems to share a single physical hardware. Means what it used to do, it is just a program or software which allow the multiple operating system to share a single physical hardware. Each operating system will share the host processors, RAM, file storage, and other resources. The hypervisor controls the host, processor, and resources. Means all the controlling is done by the hypervisor, allocating what is needed to each operating system. He this ensures that the guest operating system called virtual machine cannot interrupt each other. And also guys, it will create a some type of segmentation boundary between different type of virtual machines. What is a cloud hypervisor? A cloud hypervisor is a software solution that enables you to share the physical computing and memory resources of a cloud provider across multiple virtual machines. So this is the example of your cloud hypervisor. Cloud hypervisor allows the single physical servers to run multiple guest virtual machines. These VMs each have their own operating systems that run independently and are logical separate from each other. Now guys, there is a one big difference between container and hypervisor. Just remember, containers and hypervisors are involved in making application faster and highly efficient. However, they achieve this same goal. Means, see, the goal of this using container and hypervisor is similar. Okay, just remember. If I'll go here, if you will see the container and hypervisor here, so we have a couple of container-based solutions like Docker, Kubernetes, right? Now, so what happens basically when you have a hypervisor? So what this hypervisor we used to run on a physical hardware, we used to run the hypervisor, and on top of hypervisor, we used to run the guest operating system. Then we used to run the necessary binaries and softwares, and we will run the necessary application. But in the containers, what we used to do, we have a infrastructure which is physical hardware. On top we have a operating system, and here we used to run the container engine like your Docker engine. On top of this Docker engine, we are directly creating this particular application. So we not needed any type of guest operating system here, just remember. So that's the main difference between hypervisor and containers. But by end of the day, what we are getting the application up and running. So we have two types of hypervisors as I have mentioned. In type 1, we will run the hypervisor directly on the physical servers. But in type 2, we will run the hypervisor on top of one of the operating system like Windows or the Mac or the Linux. So type 1 hyper, like most common enterprise data centers, a type 1 hypervisor replace the host operating system. Means in type 1, we don't have a host operating system and lies right on the top of the hardware. For this reason, type 1 hypervisor are also called bare metal hypervisors or embedded hypervisors. There are a couple of examples for type 1 hypervisor like your vSphere, ESXi, ESX. All these are the hypervisor from VMware. Then we have Microsoft Hyper-V, Gen, Citrix Gen, right? Or Oracle VMware and the Citrix hypervisor. So these are the couple of examples for type 1. In type 2 hypervisors, what we need to run these type 2 hypervisor on top of guest operating system. So a type 2 hypervisor hosted running as a software on the OS, which in turn runs on the physical hardware. This form of hypervisor is typically used to run the multiple operating system on one personal computer, such as to enable the users to boot into either Windows or Linux machines. Type 2 hypervisors are like your VMware Workstation, VMware Fusion, Oracle VirtualBox, Oracle Solaris Jones, Oracle VM Server for 6x860-bit architecture. Now, guys, there are a couple of points which you need to remember. Maybe you will found this question in the interview. Just remember, AWS EC2 uses two type of different hypervisor because we are going through with the AWS training. So that is the main reason I am covering this particular thing. So Amazon EC2 uses two different hypervisors depending on the generation of the instance. Means it totally depends on the generation. They have a like different type of generation. So when we will discuss the EC2 concepts, that time I will cover all of them. That you are using the earlier generation instance use a modified version of Gen hypervisor. Gen hypervisor is a open source hypervisor, just remember. And the newer generation uses the Nitro hypervisor, which was developed by the AWS themselves. So in Amazon, they are using two type of hypervisors. First one is Gen. In the previous or the old generation instances, and all the new generation instances, they are using the Nitro hypervisor. So these are the names you need to remember. Jan is an open source hypervisor that allows for efficient resource allocation and the management in the virtualized environment. In case of Azure Cloud, Azure uses a customized version of Hyper-V. Azure Hypervisor is referred to the native hypervisor in the Azure Cloud Services platform that enables in creating virtualized machines and servers on the Azure Cloud platform. It is similar to Microsoft Hyper-V, but it's just a customized version of Hyper-V this Microsoft Hyper-V hypervisors. Okay, Google Compute Engine uses the KVM based hypervisor, and it supports the guest images running Linux and Microsoft Windows, which are used to launch virtual machines used on the x64-bit, x86 architecture devices. So these are the couple of information which you need to remember with regards to the hypervisors. Now, guys, let's do one small practical today. What we are going to do now, which is most important thing, AWS account creation. Let's create a AWS account. And guys, this particular activity everyone needs to perform. Everyone needs to do this particular thing. So once your class will complete, just start creating this particular AWS account. Remember. If you have account, then you don't need to create. That's it. No. See, to create this account, let me just go into my Mozilla Firefox, and you can just type here AWS free tier account. On Google, you have to search with this AWS free tier account. You will get the first Amazon Web Services get a free tier account. Click on this link, or you can also search like this AWS console. When you will type this AWS console, you will get here manage AWS resources, AWS management console. You can click on this console. You will go here. Now you can click on this one, create an account from here, or you can also create the account from here. Okay, so these are the two ways. So you can just see here, create a free account. Click on this. Now see, it will basically take you to this particular place. Now, guys, when you will create this particular account, so generally what we will always create a free tier account. Just remember, Okay, because if you will check this particular URL, if you visit this particular URL, you will able to see all the free services. What are the free services which is offered by the AWS, and we will use these services. So it will not, we don't need to pay lots of bills, right? So three type of offers: free trials, right? 12 months, always free, right? You can able to check the services like compute service. You will get 750 hours of free EC2 compute you can utilize for 12 months. Storage, 5 GB of storage you can utilize in S3, right? Database, all these things you can basically check out here. You will able to get the long list. Okay, so these are the free services which we want to explore. Okay, now I'll go here. So you have to mention root user email ID. So you have to mention one email ID here. So let me just use one of the email ID because I already have two accounts. So I will just create one dummy account today. So what I can use this particular email ID, which is help.sianets.com. You have to type the email ID. You can put the account name. So you can just type here like AWS training. Later we can change. Click on verify email ID. You will get one verification code in your email ID. So you have to put that code. So I'm just waiting. I received the code. Let me just put this code, which is 936060. Click on verify. So see, I have put the email ID. I have put the correct code, and see, I have verified. Now it is asking to put the password. So let me just put one password here. So I will put one password. Now just click on continue. Step 1 to 5. Continue. Not, I don't want to save here. Okay, now if you will see this thing, all AWS account can explore three different type of free offers depending on the product use, right? We have a always free, which is never expire. We have a 12 months free, and we have a trials. Okay, so what you will go, you can go by default. Okay, don't choose anything here. How do you plan to use the AWS? You can just put here for the personal use, put your name, put your full name. Let's suppose my name is Hemu, so I will put here Hemu. Put the number here. Number is necessary, guys. So you can search your country here, whatever country you belongs to. You have to search with that with your country, and you can type like India. Come on, type India. I'm from India, so I will just put here India, and I will just put the number. And guys, we have to put the number here. It is mandatory. Okay. So I can use, let me just use what number I can use. Let me just check if I have any dummy number right now. Yeah, I can use one of the number. Country, you can select your country. I'm from India, so I will select India. Address, you can put your address. Let me just put my address. So guy, you have to put the correct address. I'm just putting the wrong address. Okay. Select this option. I have read and agree to terms and condition. Continue to the next step. Now guys, this is the most important part here. Okay. Now what you have to do, see, AWS will verify your details, right? So what you have to put your credit card details, either a debit card details, and they will accept the Visa, Master, American Express, and Rupee card. Even though guys, you can also use the virtual card as well. Nowadays, lots of banks they used to create a virtual cards, right? So you can utilize these cards as well. And if you will see, we will this AWS they is telling they will not charge you for the uses below AWS free tier account means they will not charge anything. If you are using the free services, they will not charge. We may temporarily hold up to 1 USD means sometime they used to hold 1 USD, an equivalent amount in your local currency as per the pending transaction for 3 to 5 days. So what they will do if you are from India and if you will create this account, what they will basically charge around 2 INR just for the validation purpose, and you will get these this 2 INR as a refund as well. And guys, make sure when you are entering your card details, you have to make sure you have enabled the online transactions. Means online transaction is enabled in your card. Sometime we used to disable these transactions, right? So that time in that case this thing will not work. Okay, we have to put the card details. You can use debit credit card, put the expiry date and all, put the CVV number, card holder details, right? You can use the same address here. Do you have a PAN card? You can go with no, you don't have a PAN card and click on verify and continue for the next step, right? So what I'm doing guys, I'm just putting my card details into different screen. Okay. So I'm just entering the card details here. And I'm just click on verify and continue here after entering this detail. Now you can see you have to put the OTP and all. So you will get that OTP generally in your phone. So like I have received my OTP. Confirm the OTP. What happening? Just give me 1 second. Let me just, okay, I think I was putting the wrong OTP. See, it is just requesting for the payment and all. So if there is any issue, guys, looks like this on this card, I have just disabled the international transactions. So I need to use the different card. Okay, let me just do that. I can use this card then. Okay. Expiry date is 6/28. See, now it is asking me to put the OTP, so I'm just waiting for that OTP. I have got the OTP. So they have debited to INR, right? And you can see I will get this particular details. Confirm your identity. So sometime what they used to happen, sometimes they used to ask that particular identities, right? So you have to put personal use, ownership is individual. Sometimes you need to enter your PAN card details and all, right? So what I can do, I can enter my PAN card. Continue. So just select India, put your number, not this one. 9289532243. Put this bad captcha, MF4R3C. Send SMS. You will get the SMS here. So I have get the SMS. So I will get this OTP. OTP is 6216. Creation, this account creation is very easy, right? You can select this basic support. I do not support this developer or business one. Okay, go with the basic support. Okay, because we are just creating this account for the lab purpose. Complete sign up. And you will get this congratulations. Thank you for signing up for AWS. We are activating your account, which should only take a few minutes. You will receive an email when this will complete, right? You can go into this AWS console. Let me just check if I have received the email. So sometime guy you used to get the email right away. Sometime it will take little bit time. So in my case, so I got one email like your Amazon Web Service account is ready to start it. I can click on sign in. Let me use help.sianets@gmail.com. This was my email ID which I have used. I'm logging as a root user. Later on, we will see how we can create the IAM account and all. Password is, put the password here. Let me save my password. And here we go. My account is created, guys. So anyone have any questions in creating this account? Any problem with the process? It's just a step-by-step process. Okay, you don't need to do here and there. If you will follow the instructions, you can able to create this particular account. Now if you will go and if you will check, you can able to see all your services here. Click on all services, you can able to see all the services. And right now you can see I have got my account name is AWS training. This is my account ID. Later on we will see the billing and cost management, everything I will cover. So generally if you will go here, you can go, let me skip the tour. Let me just tell you one thing. If you will go here, if you will click on billing and cost management, it will basically take you towards this particular place. Okay, you can go, you can check into the bill section here. You can able to see the bills. If there is any billing is available right now, you can see billing is 0 USD. So guys, now let me tell you one thing. See, when you will create the account, you can start, you can use this account for 30 days. In 30 days, let's suppose you will get a bill of 500 INR. You can write an email to AWS. You are just a student and you are exploring this AWS for learning purpose. What they will do, they will waive off this particular amount. Again, after 1 month, let's say again your amount is reached 500, you can again write an email. So they will waive off that amount as well. They used to do so around 2-3 times they used to waive off that amount. So you can able to just get benefit of this part. Okay. You can go into the payments. From here, you can able to see the payments related details, right? Unbilled transactions, whatever are there, you can able to check all these things here, right? You can, if you will go into this budget, from here, you can able to create a budget, use a template, zero spend budget, a monthly cost budget. You can go with the monthly cost budget and you can just put, let's suppose if your budget, if your bill reached 100, reached 10 USD, you will get the notification. You can put your email ID here. So what you will get the email notification when your budget reached at 100 USD within a month. So like that, we can able to create the budget. Now your budget is created. If you will check the free tier here detail, you can able to see the free tier detail. Let me just go because we have a time. So let me just log into my main AWS account, which is here. And if I will go here into the billing and cost management, here you can able to see like this is my, if I will go into the bills section, right now you can see I have a build of around 0.059 USD, even though it's not 1 USD, right? And you can expand the payment details and all, right? You will get the details like which service is taking how many amount, how much amount, right? So you can able to see everything here. And if I'll go here and if I will just check my budget just for January month, in January month I have get a budget I have get around bill of 16 USD. Why I have get this? Because I have purchased one of the domain. I have purchased one domain. For that I have paid around 13 USD, right? Otherwise I was using multiple services and I used to get a like bill for $10 or $20 or $15 in a month maximum. Okay, so you can able to basically see all these things, which service, why you have paid, because I'm using this route 53 as well, right? So that's why I have to pay around half USD for a month to use this route 53. Then this is for virtual private gateway, right? Then in BPC, which service I have used couple of services, right? So that is the reason they have charged me that much amount. Then data transfer charges, CloudWatch, Elastic compute charges, right? You can able to see everything. Okay. And guys, if you want to see what are the services available over the AWS console, you can able to see I see I have basically highlighted the BPC service, EC2, S3, BPC, which is your virtual private cloud. EC2 is your elastic compute. S3, which is storage, Route 53, which is DNS, then RDS, which is relational database, IAM, which is identity access management, certificate manager, which is your certificate service like ACM, AWS certificate manager, right? So you can able to go into these services. If you will go here, you can basically look for other services and you can make the favorite, like make this AWS resource manager as a favorite, auto scaling as a favorite service, right? AWS private service authority as a favorite service. So you can able to see these services here directly. Okay. And you can also search the services, like you can search with the name. Let's suppose you want to search the database services, type here database, you can able to see we have a DynamoDB, RDS, right? All the database related services. Okay, so this is the section where if you will click on all services, you can able to see all services are available. These are the services which is offered by the AWS. Okay, like let me just select couple of services like AWS, Cloud Trail, Cloud Watch. I am just making these services a favorite ones. Okay, so these are the services offered by the AWS. You can check it out here. Okay, so guys, this is it for today's class. Okay, and remaining things we will see in the next lecture. And let me just check what I have for today's, if I have discussed everything or not. So we have seen what is cloud computing, SaaS architecture, advantage. Yeah, so these are the topic which targeted today, guys. And today's class I have just covered the basic things, all theoretical. Tomorrow class is also based on the all theoretical, and after that we will start your practicals and all. Okay, so that's it for today's session, guys. One more thing I want to tell you, the recorded session for today's class and tomorrow class I am going to share with, I will upload on my YouTube channel. You will get from the YouTube, and from next week onwards you will get this particular course or the videos of these sessions through my video portal, and my team will guide you what are the things you have to do, what are the things you have to download, everything. Okay, okay guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Let me just stop the recording now and we can start the Q&A.